I'm not going to say this.
A fun toys?
No, just, protection.
Okay.
Because she's like, I will buy you.
I want to show you this clip, and then I'll
My favorite
get your
thing, the
response.
clips. Let's watch it.
Yes, let's watch.
Hey, why are you
'Cause
rewriting
now we're not-
the past?
I'm not rewriting the past.
Yes, you have been,
No,
Cody.
I'm not rewriting the past.
I'm
being honest about it because we're
that to me because that doesn't.
I don't even know. I don't even want to have to adjust my schedule anymore.
No, I know.
So I kind of had this 2 lives. Like I had this schedule I lived and I loved and I went to bed when I wanted. We didn't have to.
You won't believe the tea we're spilling today. From secret breakups to shocking lies, this is Unreal Tea. Hit subscribe before the drama starts. Welcome, everyone. The courtroom was quiet, but it wasn't peaceful. It was the type of quiet that precedes the storm, dense, charged, and nearly insupportable. All the seats were taken. All the air was being held. This wasn't a normal family grudge. This was the day the secrets of Kody Brown, the former proud patriarch of Sister Wives, finally went to trial. But nobody at all, anticipated what came next. The cameras began rolling. Journalists were on the lookout. The judge peered over her glasses, ready for the straightforward property case she expected to see. But what transpired was a more engrossing drama than any episode TLC ever produced, because it was authentic. And this time, the wives weren't exiting quietly. They were arriving with proof, with honesty, and with betrayal decades deep on their backs. Your Honor, started Attorney Riley Stone, voice crisp, words calculated. Standing tall alongside Christine and Janelle, no longer sister wives but plaintiffs in a joint claim in a case that could lastly destroy Kody's public image for good. This case is not just about land. It's all about emotional manipulation, money lies, and a hidden exit strategy that abandoned these women when he constructed a future life without them. Rigid across the courtroom was Kody Brown. The charismatic, camera-friendly man was gone. Seated in his place was someone cornered. His knuckles were clenched wide against the table. His eyes were scanning the room for an ally. None made eye contact. Not even Robyn. Christine stood up next. But this was not the Christine everyone remembered. She was not here to smile in anguish or stay calm for the camera's sake. She was a woman who had come to tell. With fire. With rage. With facts. From her purse, she removed a manila envelope, thick and weathered with age. She held it aloft. This, she said, is what Kody never wanted us to discover. Gasp. The judge's brow furrowed. The bailiff moved in. In the envelope were some legal papers, but not for Coyote Pass. These documents belonged to a private parcel in Sedona, a breathtaking lot listed in the name of CB Management Holdings LLC. And whose company was that? Kody Brown's. By himself. Christine's voice shook, not with fear, but with anger. He bought this when he was saying we didn't have any money. While we lived in trailers, through cold winters, still hoping Coyote Pass was in our future. The courtroom erupted in chaos. Reporters frantically scribbled notes. The judge shouted for order. Robyn shifted uncomfortably in her seat, looking shaken. Christine went on. Not only did he keep this from us, but he also took our combined business revenue from Sister Wives, a show founded on our names, our children, our suffering, to create an escape route just for himself and Robyn. The judge shifted his gaze toward Kody. Did you inform your wives, who were also beneficiaries, in the Coyote Pass transaction, of this purchase? Kody folded his arms. The smirk was erased. It was a personal investment. I didn't think it was relevant. Janelle stood up now, solid as steel. That investment was made in money we saved up together. And while we lost everything, our homes, our comfort, our savings, you constructed a retreat, not for the family, but for yourself. The room went silent. And then there was the second punch. I have audio, Janelle announced. A conversation that was taped on the 2nd of last August. Kody's head whipped around. Objection. His lawyer exclaimed. Recorded without my permission. The judge didn't even blink. Arizona is a one-party consent state. Objection denied. Janelle strode forward, plugged in her phone, and pressed play. You were never lawfully married to me, Kody's voice rang out icy cold. You have no right to the land. You never did. That land, it's not yours. It never will be. Gasps filled the room. Christine's lips quivered. Robyn looked down. At her lap, hands trembling. Janelle's voice responded in the recording, wounded. We invested in this. Emotionally. Financially. Kody's reply? Ice cold. You made that choice. Don't make me the villain because you're waking up. Too late. Even the judge looked stunned. Christine leaned toward her attorney and whispered, he's never said that out loud before. Not until now. And then, the final earthquake. Just as the judge called a recess, the courtroom doors swung open. Cameras turned. The gallery craned their necks. And through the doors walked Gwendolyn Brown. Christine gasped. Cody looked like he'd seen a ghost. Reporters dropped their pens. "I've been subpoenaed," she said clearly. "I have proof regarding that Sedona house." The judge motioned her forward. Cody's attorney objected. Denied. Gwendolyn approached the stand, serene, fiery, and unyielding. "My father took me to some out-of-the-way place outside Sedona a few years ago. He pointed out a cabin and told me it was his plan B, a place he'd go with Robyn in case everything went wrong. He instructed me not to say anything. Not even my mom." Christine covered her face. Janelle clutched her arm. Gwen continued, "When I read the address Christine discovered in the papers, I recognized it at once. That is the same cabin." Cody muttered something to his attorney. The harm was irreversible. The jury looked at him as if he were a stranger. Judge Mercer broke the silence. "Miss Brown, your testimony is vital proof of intent to hide, thank you." The courtroom trembled. Cody slumped. Shoulders low. His world, his name, and his own version of the truth were disintegrating. When the court resumed, another man occupied where Cody had previously sat. Not a leader. Not a husband. But a man was revealed. The judge summarized the facts. CB Holdings was wholly owned by Cody. The property was concealed. Christine, Janelle, and even Meri didn't know about it. While they financially invested in a land venture, he never had plans to finish for them. The decision was quick, strong, and absolute. Mr. Kody Brown is found liable for concealment of assets, breach of fiduciary trust, and fraudulent misrepresentation. The Sedona property shall be sold, and the proceeds divided proportionally. Another $120,000 is given for emotional damages. The courtroom exploded. Reporters ran out to write their reports. And the lights of the cameras out front converted the sidewalk into a searing inferno. But Christine didn't grin. Janelle didn't jubilate. Rather, they stood united. "We didn't come here to destroy him," Christine said to reporters. "We came to reclaim what belonged to us, our voice, our truth, and our future." Janelle said, "For nearly 30 years, we offered him loyalty. Today, we received something in return. Finally, justice." Emotional fallout inside the courthouse. Again, Cody sat in a private room. Robyn stood alongside him silently. Her hands quivered, eyes red-rimmed. No word was uttered between them. Outside, Gwendolyn was questioned. "Why did you testify?" She didn't blink. "Because the truth matters. And it's time the world saw who my father really is." And so it was. The man who constructed a family of wives and children out of faith, unity, and love, had been constructing something else in private. An escape from it all, a scheme to vanish. And his daughters, his wives, and his legacy were no longer silent enough. The steps of the courthouse were filled with reporters, microphones out in all directions. But the cameras no longer cared about Cody. He was no longer the story. Christine was. Janelle was. Gwendolyn was. 3 women, all who shared the Brown name, had finally pulled the curtain back from the closely guarded illusion of a cohesive spiritual family. The sister wives had ceased being wives and begun becoming witnesses. Survivors. Warriors. And the world was looking on. Within the courthouse, Cody sat in the background, slumped on a metal bench in a side room, his head cradled in his hands. The sound of reporters was muffled through the glass door, but he did not stir. Not even when Robyn reached out to nudge him. "Cody," she whispered, her voice almost inaudible. "What now?" He did not answer. She persisted. "They won." He slowly turned, face gaunt, eyes red-rimmed. "No. They outed me." It wasn't the loss of territory that destroyed Cody, it was the loss of control. For years, he set the tone for the family, defined the public face, and navigated every crisis like a PR game board. But this wasn't an edit on TLC. This was real. And permanent. Back outside, Christine was at the podium, with Janelle and Gwendolyn on each side of her. Her hands trembled a bit, but her voice didn't waver. "I want to be clear. This courtroom wasn't about vengeance. It was about truth. It was about uncovering what was hidden beneath the smiles and the family dinners." Janelle leaned in, her voice heavier, softer. "People ask why we stayed so long. Why we thought for all those years. The answer is easy, because we were promised love, unity, and a future together. What we received instead was silence, control, and ultimately, abandonment." The audience was in stunned silence. Gwendolyn continued, "I came forward because I couldn't just sit around and watch my mom get gaslit once again. I couldn't continue to act as if we were all just one big happy family when I knew he had a plan B, and it didn't involve us. Meanwhile on social media, the world went wild. Hashtag Team Christine and hashtag Justice for Janelle trended across every platform in an hour. Viral courtroom clips were trimmed, subtitled, and posted millions of times. Reaction videos clogged up TikTok. Fans sobbed. Some cheered. Others just sat in stunned silence. But one refrain was voiced loudest of all: we always knew. But we never thought it was this bad. At Robyn and Cody's Flagstaff house, the blinds were drawn. The children were bewildered. Robyn sat on the couch, her face buried in her hands. Cody paced back and forth across the room. You said me the Sedona land was unassailable. Robyn spat. You said it was in your name. Safe. Secured. Cody spun around, frustrated. I didn't anticipate Gwen testifying. I didn't anticipate Christine discovering those papers. You didn't anticipate? She erupted. Cody, you buried that cabin like a coffin. And now we're both in it. He pounded his fist on the wall. I constructed that home for us. For when the show ended. For tranquility. But you constructed it on our silence. Their agony. That final line felt like a verdict itself. Later that evening, in Christine's living room, the mood was different. More subdued. But not melancholy. Christine was sitting with Janelle and their kids. They were bathed in laughter, in tears, in coffee cups, and in blankets. For the first time in years, they didn't feel like women scrapping over pieces of attention. They felt like a family. Janelle craned forward. Do you know what we just did? Christine smiled weakly. We told the truth. Out loud. To the world. And he finally had to listen. At Meri's Utah Inn, she watched on her phone. Alone. Quiet. Her face was an impassive mask. A lobby voice asked, Did you see what went on today? Meri nodded slowly. Yeah. I saw. I was always curious when the truth would be revealed. She placed the phone on the counter, stood up, and moved toward the window. She had been the first wife, the dutiful one, the pioneer of a dream that never belonged to her for years. Today, that dream formally broke. And although she wasn't in the courtroom, a part of her felt as if she was just released too. 2 days after, Christine and Janelle were invited for an exclusive network interview, the first since the court decision. The host leaned forward. How do you feel now that the world knows the truth? Janelle was silent. Then she said, I feel like I can breathe again. Christine added, we loved him. That's what people forget. This wasn't about revenge. It was about being able to move on without the burden of lies. The interviewer inquired, do you believe Robyn knew something about the Sedona property? Christine hesitated. I think she did know something. But I also believe that she believed what she wanted to believe. Just like we all did, for a long time. Back at Cody's residence, Cody hadn't been spotted in public since the decision. Rumors circulated. That he was abandoning Flagstaff, that he was intending to sue back. That TLC was rethinking the direction of the show entirely. He ultimately spoke out on a private live stream for loyal followers. But the clip leaked. They betrayed me, he spat. They took my words out of context. They made me a villain. The responses weren't positive. You hid a secret cabin while your wives lived in trailers. This is accountability, not betrayal. You got caught. Period. And the fallout didn't stop there. A petition emerged urging TLC to rebrand or cancel Sister Wives unless it began portraying all sides of the story, including the women's journey after Cody. One popular fan post said, we don't need to see a man juggle wives anymore. We need to see women heal, rebuild, and reclaim their lives. In a later scene, Gwen has her own interview. Was it difficult to testify about your father? She hesitates, then nods. Yes. But it was more difficult seeing my mom cry every night for years, not knowing why she wasn't enough. What do you think he lost the day he lost in court? She doesn't falter. He didn't lose a cabin. He lost our respect. And for a man like my father, that's worse. Christine is alone at Coyote Pass. The wind whines. The land appears as desolate as the promises it originally offered. She glances back one final time, then turns away. No tears. No remorse. Only peace. Behind her, Janelle approaches with 2 coffee mugs under each arm. Ready? Christine nods. More than ever. They turn and walk away together, shoulder to shoulder, into the dust of shattered promises. And as the screen goes black, one line rings out like thunder, this wasn't the end of the Sister Wives. It was the beginning of their truth. Robyn's silence breaks the family, the betrayal they never saw coming as the dust settles. On the fiery aftermath of Meri's confession and Cody's spiraling bitterness, all eyes begin to shift toward the one person who has remained oddly silent through it all, Robyn Brown. For years, she was painted as the peacemaker, the loyal wife, and the one who just wanted a big, loving plural family. But now that Cody's been revealed, Meri has been freed, and Janelle and Christine have broken off on their own, Robyn's silence has started to sound like something other than that, a smokescreen for something more. Behind closed doors, rumors. Rage. What did Robyn know? And what was her role in the manipulation that gradually dismantled the Brown family? It began when the cameras recorded a raw, uncensored exchange between Christine and Janelle, two women who'd found strength with each other after leaving Cody. They sat on Christine's back patio, the New Mexico sunset casting warm, golden light on their faces. But their words were anything but warm. "Do you really think Robyn didn't know?" Christine asked, her tone soft, almost ghostly. Janelle hesitated, eyes narrowing. Early on? Perhaps. But towards the end, I believe she knew. All. And poof, a whole new layer of the story was open wide. The storyline changed. Robyn wasn't only the wife that Cody fled to, she was possibly the puppeteer behind the screen, the one controlling the strings while the rest of them were playing checkers. Cut to Robyn in the confessional, finally responding to the allegations. Her voice quivered, not out of emotion, but under pressure. "I never wished for this," she maintained, fighting back tears. "I never asked Cody to choose me. I begged him to be fair." But the internet wasn't convinced. Forums imploded. TikToks analyzed every word, every blink, and every strategically timed tear. Fans weren't just dubious, they were enraged. What stung the most was a recently surfaced clip from the past, with Robyn tearfully explaining to Cody that she couldn't function in a house where she wasn't the favorite. It had appeared harmless at the time, but now? It appeared to be a veiled confession. Christine didn't mince words. In a second segment, she spelt it out in harsh specificity. She knew, Christine asserted. She had to. Cody changed the moment. She stepped into the picture, and not for the better. And Robyn indulged in that. She allowed him to put her and her children above all of us and allowed the rest of us to suffer because of it. The saddest part? The kids picked up on it. A split-screen scene has Gabriel and Garrison discussing Robyn. "I don't hate her," Garrison says, looking down. "But I don't trust her either." "She was supposed to be our mom too," Gabriel comments softly. "But she only cared about her own kids." The camera slowly pans in on their faces, two young men trapped in the wreckage of favoritism and compelled to mature in a family where love was conditional. And then there was the reveal that shattered what little illusion had remained. Meri, now empowered and at last fearless, laid a bombshell in her last tell-all installment. There were conversations, she confessed. Private discussions between Robyn and Cody. Regarding legal adoption, money, the home, and choices that involved all of us. And we weren't included. We weren't consulted. Robyn wasn't so much a victim of circumstance anymore, she was now part of a calculated business that nobody else was invited to. Then there were the financial reports, released by a trusted family insider, according to one Reddit post. They indicated a chilling trend. Money designated for joint family use was gradually redirected over the years, and it mostly poured into Robyn's home. Was it Cody? Was it Robyn? Or both? The records did not give names, but it painted a picture. A picture of favoritism manipulated to control. A picture of power moves in the guise of protection. A picture that showed Robyn in a whole different light. Even viewers who had previously empathized with her started to turn away. "She was always playing the victim," wrote one commenter. "But now we know she was the safest among us because she constructed the cage everyone else was in." Then the camera transports us to a darkened, emotionally charged sit-down between Suki and Robyn. It's the moment producers hinted at for weeks, the one that left viewers gasping. Suki spoke slowly. "But by staying divided, you benefited the most. How do you justify that?" Robyn's lips are trembling as she gazes at her, but the quiet lingers too long. In that instant, she has nothing to say. That silence? It was deafening. It spoke louder than any tear ever might. Cody's implosion behind the scenes, David and Christine's love standing against Cody, and a secret letter from one of the Brown children that could alter everything. But what no one anticipated, what really ignited this chapter of the Brown family drama, was the deconstruction of Robyn's meticulously guarded image. While Christine and Janelle healed and rediscovered their lives, and Meri struggled to create her own identity, Robyn's world was falling apart quietly behind the tightly sealed smiles and scripted words. Behind closed doors, Robyn was no longer the calm, favorite wife shielded by Cody's favor. She became the embodiment of resentment. For fans, some of the family members, and increasingly, even to herself. The mask was dropping, and beneath was not the high-minded martyr she had presented for so many years. Tensions finally boiled over when rumored leaked emails and confidential texts began to circulate, purportedly from Robyn's former business associates. These communications revealed a different picture, a woman frantically struggling to maintain control of the finances she had originally denied desiring. The jewelry company, which had previously been depicted as a family effort, now felt like a one-person show with secrets. Customers who had invested in My Sister Wife's closet were outraged. They weren't upset about delayed orders or lost refunds, they felt deceived. They were women, most of whom were single mothers or were polygamy survivors themselves, who had bought into Robyn's sisterly and unifying message. And now, that message rang hollow. Robyn's social media feeds became battlefields. Comment called for accountability, some requesting, "Where's our money?" Others were even blunter, "Did you ever think you thought about sisterhood, or was it always only about you?" During the tell-all that ensued, the questions only increased in sharpness. Host Sukanya Krishnan did not avoid the tempest raging outside the lens. "Robyn," she demanded in a tense sit-down, "what do you have to say to the fans who feel betrayed, not just by the business, but by how things unraveled?" Robyn's answer was hesitant, uncertain. "I never wanted any of this to occur. I never intended to harm anybody." Her voice shook, and tears rolled up, but to many observing, the sentiment didn't live up to the severity of what was being witnessed. And just as the fans were starting to nitpick her every utterance, a larger bombshell fell. Kody Brown himself defected. In a move that surprised even the showrunners, Cody confessed that perhaps he had made some key mistakes in judgment regarding Robyn. He didn't exactly say that he regretted marrying her, but he did say, "I put Robyn on a pedestal. And I alienated my other wives in the process. That's on me." It was seismic language from someone as famously obstinate as Cody. And it instantly changed the focus. Robyn was no longer only the focal point of fanlash criticism, she was now the center of family culpability. Christine, always blunt, said in her own spot, "I'm not surprised. We have been saying this for years. But when we said it, we were jealous. Now suddenly it's true because Cody sees it?" Janelle, clearly uneasy, chipped in, "It's sad. I don't think Robyn ever wanted to be the villain. But she never stepped off the pedestal either." Meri, to her greatest surprise, exhibited a burst of bitterness that came her way very seldom. "There were times I begged for scraps. And now to hear all this? It's a slap in the face." The emotional damage was astronomical. The fans were no longer merely viewers, they were part of a slow-moving implosion. And then there was the most poignant moment so far, the reference to Garrison Brown and how his passing had not only impacted Janelle but also the entire Brown family dynamics. Christine was overcome with tears recalling Garrison's gentleness. "He was strong. He was gentle. And he was so hurt by the division in our family." Janelle, with shaking lips, continued, "He saw things falling apart. He saw the hypocrisy. And he attempted to repair it. But he bore too much." Robyn, who once fawned on the younger Brown children, was mute. During her time slot, she merely whispered, "I wish I had done more." But the fans were not prepared to forgive. The storylines were no longer merely about polygamy or religion or self-improvement. They were about responsibility, sorrow, and the horrific price of emotional favoritism. And amid this inferno of reality and tragedy, new friendships discreetly emerged. Christine and Janelle started being seen more often together, online and out. Their friendship, previously considered guarded, now seemed unbreakable. They shared pictures of baking together, at family gatherings, and laughing with their children, and fans paid attention. This was not performative. This was healing. In the meantime, Meri received surprising support from longtime friends and even strangers who related to her isolation. She started a small podcast on resilience and spirituality, far removed from the drama and far removed from cameras. It was a small success. But Robyn, she backed away. No new blogs. No public comments. There were rumors that she had relocated out of the Flagstaff house, maybe to be near extended family. Some behind-the-scenes sources alleged Cody was spiraling out of control, others that he was attempting to fix things, but even the most devoted fans could see, the golden couple's sparkle had lost its luster. And just when fans thought things couldn't possibly get more dramatic, a cryptic letter appeared at the Sister Wives production office. Unsigned. But with menacing handwriting that simply stated, "This didn't begin with Robyn. It began with the secrets." Secrets what? Who sent it? And what are producers covering? Up for viewers? Tune in, because the second half of this hot story will strip away the final layer of truth the Browns never desired the world to know. But what really unsettled fans and left many mouths agape wasn't the money or the unbilled orders. It was the still, creepy quiet from Robyn herself. No public apology. No video. No word. Just an empty, hollow space. For a woman who had previously Cried on national television about family, unity, and trust. Not speaking was the ultimate betrayal. People pleaded for explanations. Emails were sent out. Calls were placed. Messages were put on her social media accounts. And it was like yelling. At a canyon, every sound echoed back unheard. And when finally someone did get a reply from an evasive customer service letter that could have been sent by a computer, the reply was unfriendly. We apologize for the inconvenience. Allow 5 to 7 business days for a reply. And nothing else. This wasn't merely a commercial failure, it was a trust collapse. For those fans who had stood by Robyn in her darkest hours, who had wept with her, and who had taken a stand for her when the world had turned against her, this was a backstab. And the more voices were raised, the more the speculation grew. Was Robyn out of her depth? Did she ever expect the business to be genuine? Was this a strategic move from the beginning, or did the meltdown just reveal how far removed she had become from reality? Insiders started whispering that Robyn's glamorous life with Cody, funded in part by TLC checks and fan-funded side businesses, had created a bubble. A place where there was no accountability. Where consequences didn't exist. Where the fans' dollars didn't count as long as the cameras kept rolling and the sad story continued to play. And while Robyn was behind the scenes, fans made it their business to come forward and reveal what they perceived as a history of deceit. Reddit forums went haywire. TikToks went viral. Seasoned Sister Wives fans started making connections, suspicious timelines, lost refunds, and conflicting stories. Even more unsettling? A few buyers who had ordered from Robyn's shop years ago started coming forward with uncannily similar stories. A woman said she had placed an order in 2018 for a custom family shield necklace that never came. Another explained that her hand-signed thank you note was identical to a photo posted by another buyer, complete with the same signature and smudged ink. A one-time glitch? Or had Robyn ridden the generosity of fans for years? Cody himself caught fire, too. Though he wasn't mentioned. On any documents, everyone felt like he must have known. Robyn wasn't merely a wife, she was the wife. His favorite. His business partner in all things minus name. How could he not have noticed what was occurring? Or worse, did he notice and keep silent? This theory picked up steam after one tell-all. Video clip surfaced, with Robyn nervously brushing off questions regarding their sources of income. When the host persisted in asking about the boutique, Robyn replied, "Oh, it's just a small passion project," only to pivot hastily afterwards. But now, that coyness seemed less like humility, and more like evasion. Later, fans caught wind of an even more alarming trend. The original boutique site had been removed. No redirects, no changes, just poof. The business Facebook page hadn't been updated in a year or more. The Instagram account is quiet. It was like Robyn had attempted to erase it all, counting on people forgetting. But the internet never forgets. Screenshots were preserved. Archive. Links emerged. And one incriminating post from an Arizona fan even reported seeing a trunk full of unsold jewelry at a neighborhood yard sale, uncannily similar to items previously listed on Robyn's site. Was she discarding evidence? Or merely getting rid of a money loser? And still, Robyn did not blink. She did not explain. She did not say one word. In reality television, a scream is sometimes less audible than silence, and Robyn's was deafening. Christine, Janelle, and even Meri, formerly included in this complicated brown web, sat at home watching. Christine, in particular, appeared to savor the brewing tempest. She'd spoken up several times regarding Robyn's manipulations and how she felt pushed aside, gaslit, and dumped. Now, seeing fans turn on the woman she once referred to as the usurper, Christine smiling, muted grins and Instagram reels cut sharper than words. Janelle, the practical one, put up a mysterious message on her story. People always reveal themselves. You just have to be paying attention. And Meri? She remained characteristically herself, with ambiguous, passive-aggressive quotes regarding trust, betrayal, and self-worth. But even her silence had weight to it. After all these years of hurt and bewilderment, the women who used to be Robyn's support system were seeing her fall apart, and this time, they weren't rushing in to rescue her. TLC has been mum about the scandal, not saying anything about whether the boutique drama would appear on the show in the future. But the fans want answers. Has the network been aware of this the whole time? Did the cameras get instructions to steer clear of it? Or will the truth finally come out in a dramatic Sister Wives season to be? The speculation now is boiling over. Will Robyn speak out in the forthcoming tell-all? Will Cody stand up for her or sacrifice her in order to save himself? Will this be the scandal that ends the show once and for all? One thing is certain, this is no longer reality TV. This is legitimate money, legitimate trust, and legitimate fans gotten in the process. And Robyn? She's at the eye of a storm she might not be able to weep her way out of. Stay tuned. Because If history has taught us anything, it's that with the Browns, the truth always manages to come to light. This family's drama is far from over, so smash like if you're hashtag Team Wives, subscribe for the next explosive update, and drop a comment below. Who do you think will win? Stay shady, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next scandal. Kiss Mark. Behind TLC Sister Wives out.